Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Nena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. Vandegam Sri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaidam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarvyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Isvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraham Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. Hare Krishna. By the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, we are nicely studying Bhagavad Gita. So we finished the very first sloka in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the three modes of material nature. So in this chapter, Krishna is actually continuing to answer Arjuna's question in the 13th chapter. So in the 13th chapter, Arjuna asked the question, in the very first sloka, Arjuna asked the question that Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva Cha Etat Veditum Ichami Jnanam Nyayam Cha Kesava. That's what Arjuna asked the question. So for that, Krishna has answered very clearly about the Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Nyaya. And to certain extent we understood about Prakriti also, but Krishna didn't spend many slokas to explain Prakriti in the 13th chapter. Krishna just said that Karya Karana Kartrutve Hetuhu Prakriti Ruchyate Purushaga Sukha Dukkhanam Bhoktrutve Hetu Ruchyate. So the Prakriti is said to be the cause for creating all the activities and carrying out them. And the living entity is said to be the cause for his own suffering or enjoyment. And the reason we are the cause for our own suffering and enjoyment because we are associating ourselves with the modes of nature. Because that is our desires. That's what we are opting. It's our option. We are opting to come ourselves under the control of the modes of nature. The choice is given to us. So, we decide to actually serve Krishna, get this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and follow what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and just find happiness within ourselves, then we don't have to get controlled by the three modes of material nature. But because of ignorance, that means because of not having this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, we actually forget that we are the soul. We don't even understand that we are the soul. We wrongly, falsely identify ourselves with this body. And then we think that we are this body. And then we try to do everything to please the needs of the body, to satisfy the needs of the body. If you carefully analyze, that's what we are doing in our day-to-day activities. Every day, whatever we do, everything we are doing only to take care of our body. So eating and going after enjoying the material sense objects. So everything in this material world, when we are interacting with this material world, with our material senses. So all these things we are doing only with an understanding or with a thinking that we are this body. We don't have any understanding that we are the soul. This body is temporary. This body brings a lot of miseries to the soul. So because of such ignorance, we associate ourselves with the modes of nature. We forget Krishna. And because of forgetfulness of Krishna, because of not knowing about Krishna and forgetfulness of Krishna, because of not knowing this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, so we are actually controlled by the three modes of material nature. Purushaga prakritistohi bhungte prakriti jan guna. So we are in this material world, in this prakriti, Purushaga prakritistohi bhungte prakriti jan guna. We are trying to enjoy under the spell of the three modes of material nature. Karanam gunas sangosya saddasadyoni janmasu. Because we are associating with the three modes of nature. Gunas sangosya. Karanam gunas sangosya. So that's why we are meeting with good and bad results in this material world. We are getting affected by the results. We are getting attached to the results. And we are getting ourselves forced to act. All these things are happening because of our ignorance, because of our association with the three modes of material nature. So Krishna is teaching in Bhagavad Gita about all these things. Otherwise, we don't even know that we are controlled by the three modes of nature. Without this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, we don't even know that we are the soul. We always think that we are this body. And we don't even understand that we are controlled by the three modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So only those two slokas in the 13th chapter Krishna said about Prakriti. He didn't elaborate much on that. When Arjuna asked the question in the first sloka in the 13th chapter about Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya, Krishna didn't elaborate more than these two slokas about the Prakriti. He just said that both Prakriti and Purusha with the Anadi. So they both are beginningless. So that's what Krishna said. So, but now to really understand at much length, to really understand fully, completely about these three modes of material nature, Krishna himself is explaining in this 14th chapter. Arjuna just asked what is Prakriti. Prakriti Purusha, Kshetra Kshetrajna, Jnana Jnaya. Krishna explained everything. Now Prakriti is explaining more. So Prakriti means mainly we need to understand, even though Prakriti means nature. So its nature means it's all even this Panjabhutas, these five great elements, Mahabhutas, they are called Mahabhutas, and Binna Prakriti, Para Prakriti, all such things Krishna is talking about. We already studied in the 7th chapter about it. But in this chapter, in the 14th chapter, Krishna is dedicating this entire chapter to explain to us that about the three modes of material nature. So about this Prakriti means the three modes of material nature. Krishna is explaining completely. We are understanding. So it has got about 27 slokas in this 14th chapter, but everything about the three modes of material nature. Only Arjuna asks the question at the end now. It's very similar to like in the 5th chapter when Arjuna asked the question in the first sloka, which I have told many times in the past. So in the 5th chapter, the first shloka, Arjuna asked the question. Sanyasam karmanam Krishna punaryogam cha samsasi echreya etayor ekam tanme bruhi sunishchitam. So what is best? Renouncing the work or performing the work and renouncing the results? Or performing the work without attachment to the results? So not even renouncing the results, not having attachment to the results. So which one is good? When Arjuna asked that question, Krishna in the entire 5th chapter, in the next 28 slokas, and Krishna continued in the 6th chapter, in the first 32 slokas. So totally in 60 slokas, Krishna explained, Krishna answered Arjuna's that one question. So similarly, here Arjuna is asking the question again in the 13th chapter. Only the first sloka, only Arjuna is asking the question in the 13th chapter. Prakriti Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnam Evacha Etat Veditum Ichami Jnanam Nyayam Cha Kesava. So this 13th chapter has got 35 slokas. So in the remaining 34 slokas, Krishna answered Arjuna's first, totally 5 questions are answered. And now the 6th question, that is the very first. He asked Prakriti Purusha. He started with Prakriti. But other 5, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Jnana, Jnaya, everything Krishna explained very clearly in the 13th chapter. So 34 slokas. So now Krishna is continuing in the 14th chapter about the 3 modes of material nature. So next time Arjuna is asking question here only in the 20 sloka number 21. So 20 sloka number 21, Arjuna is asking the question. 21st sloka. Arjuna is asking that Arjuna Vacha Kailingai Trin Gunan Ethan Athitho Bhavati Prabho Kimacharah Katham Chaitan Trin Gunan Ativartate. So by what symptoms I can understand that one is freed from the 3 modes of material nature. By how he behaves, what kind of activities, by what activities, Kim Achara means how he behaves. Katham Chaitan Trin Guna Ativartate. When a person is freed from the 3 modes of material nature, how does he behave? That's what Arjuna asked. Arjuna inquired, "Oh my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these 3 modes? What is his behavior?" That's what Kimachara. Katham Chaitan Trin Gunan Ativartate. And how does he transcend the modes of nature? That's what Katham Chaitan Trin Gunan Ativartate. How does he transcend the 3 modes of nature? That's what Arjuna is asking the question in the 21st sloka in the 14th chapter. So that means 20 slokas Krishna is answering that one question about Prakriti, which Arjuna asked in the 13th chapter, very first sloka. So that means 34 slokas in the 13th chapter plus 20 slokas in the 14th chapter. So 34 slokas in the 13th chapter and 20 slokas in the 14th chapter. So totally 54 slokas Krishna is actually answering Arjuna's that one question. One question means, of course, 6 questions in one sloka. Like that, only in the 8th chapter also, Arjuna asked in the very first question, very first sloka, Arjuna asks the question. What he asks? Arjuna asks, Kim tat brahma, kim madhyatma, kim karma purushottama, adhibhutam cha kim proktam, adhidevam kim uchyate, adhiyajnaga katam kotra degesmin madhusudana, prayana kale cha katam yeyosi niyatatma bhi. So in the 2 slokas, Arjuna asked many questions. What is Brahma? Kim tat Brahma? Kim Adhyatma? Kim Karma? What is Adhyatma? What is Karma? What is Adhibhuta? Adhideva? Adhiyajna? Then he asked, Prayana Kalecha Katam Nyeyosi Niyatatmabi. How can one remember you at the time of death? So in the next sloka itself, Krishna answered, next 2 slokas, Krishna answered all the questions except the last question. So starting from this sloka number 5 in the 8th chapter, so Krishna answered completely the entire 8th chapter. So Krishna answered to totally 28 slokas. So that means 26 slokas. Basically 26 slokas Krishna is answering, because in the first 2 slokas Arjuna asked the question. In those, Krishna answered all his questions in 2 slokas, but in the next 26 slokas, so 28 means totally 24 slokas Krishna is answering. But still for Arjuna's question, Krishna is continuously answering for the 26 slokas in the 8th chapter. then 34 slokas in the 9th chapter. So here 26 and then 34, which makes 60 slokas. And then 11 slokas in the 10th chapter, continuous. So basically 71 slokas Krishna is answering, because what we need to realize and understand, Arjuna is asking in 1 or 2 slokas itself, is asking too many questions. But Krishna is answering many of those questions in just few slokas. But one important question he answers very, very, like that question that like prayana kalecha katham nyayosi niyatatmabi. How can one know you at the time of death? Krishna took so many slokas, 71 slokas Krishna is answering. So like that, in the 5th chapter, Krishna has taken 60 slokas to answer for Arjuna's question, very first question. And in the 8th chapter, Krishna has taken 71 slokas to answer. And then in the 13th chapter, Krishna has taken 54 slokas to answer. So like that, these are all very, very important questions, and Krishna is answering very, very clearly. And Krishna is giving us all the knowledge what we need. So this is all Krishna's causeless mercy, Arjuna's mercy too. Arjuna asked questions to Krishna. These questions we can't even think about it. We can't even think about it. Arjuna asked such very, very important questions, which Krishna answered all of them. So we are very, very fortunate now to study this same Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna gave to Arjuna in the battlefield more than 5,000 years ago. So the same Bhagavad Gita we are studying now. We are continuing the same way. No change. Exactly everything is exactly same. So we are able to study, understand, and understand about what to do, how to behave, how to do our activity, how to control our mind, and how to do each and every activity in our life. Everything is becoming very, very clear by Krishna's causeless mercy. We are studying in the same way. This is all Krishna's mercy we are getting, and we are very fortunate to get this knowledge, but we need to make use of it. That's the main thing. We cannot let this go just like that. We need to be very serious in this effort. We need to make progress. We need to put a lot of efforts in studying and understanding Bhagavad Gita and practicing what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita and spreading Bhagavad Gita. So if you make efforts in this way, then we don't have any other time to think about the material things in this way. We really don't have time. If you want to serve Krishna, if you want to study Bhagavad Gita, if you want to follow what Krishna says, if you want to please Krishna, so then where is the time for us to think about the material things in this way? Where is the time for us to worry that, oh, I want this, I didn't get it, I want that, I didn't get it. There is no time to even think about it. I don't want anything in this world other than Krishna, that's it. I want only Krishna. Krishna has to be pleased with our activities, that's it. Because anything I need, Krishna will give. We don't have to separately go and ourselves individually go, ourselves alone go and struggle and suffer in this material world, and ultimately we are going to lose everything. Our God, our Supreme Lord, who is seated in our own heart. So the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna is there, and He gives what we need. He takes care of us completely. So with that knowledge, with that understanding, we should study this Bhagavad Gita. So then our life will be fully Krishna conscious. We don't have to struggle hard in this world, and our mind will be very peaceful. And when we do like this, we will not have any stress. These days, unfortunately, we call it a so-called modern materialistic life. Everyone has got a lot of stress, which is not at all good for health. We need to understand that fact. We're all attached to material things in this material world. I want this, I want that, all such things. So, without studying this Bhagavad Gita, without following what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and when we want to accomplish so many things in this material world, ultimately we will end up with so much of stress, financial stress, this stress, that stress, so much of stress. This world is designed to give us more and more problems and troubles. Stress is very, very bad for our health. We need to understand. If you are stressed, then immediately when the sympathetic nervous system gets activated, So then our heart rate is going to go up very high. We cannot bring our heart rate normal. It will be beating very fast. So that means our blood pressure is going to increase. So then also with stress, we cannot control our diet. So it is called as stress eaters. If you are at stress, we'll eat so much. You don't even care about it. You don't even think about it. Just eat whatever is there. You keep eating, eating, eating. So that way you cannot control our weight. So if you have a lot of stress, naturally we will be more obese and more problems, more stress, and our heart rate will be very high, and our normal heart rate won't be, our heart rate won't be normal, and blood pressure and our respiration rate also will increase, and a lot of things when the sympathetic nervous system is getting activated, starting from our pupils, from everything, from eyes, a lot of things will be actually happening. So that way, if we take care of this, if we surrender and take shelter into this Bhagavad Gita, if we just follow what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if we just remember only Krishna and do everything for Krishna, first of all, what is going to happen is that we won't get stress at all. There is no stress, zero stress. So that means our heart will beat very normally only. So that is known as parasympathetic nervous system. So we have two nervous systems, which I explained many times in the past also, sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. So then we don't have to worry. Then we will be able to control our diet, our eating process. Krishna is saying that nati ashnatastu yogosti nachaikanta manasnataga nachati swapna silasya jagrato naiva chatma. So if you are not attached to material sense objects, if you are not stressed out, if you are not getting stressed, if you are able to plan our life, design our life very simple, very easy, so then we will be able to lead a happy life. That's what is happiness. That's what is peace of mind. Otherwise, simply getting stressed all the time, and there is no point in fun in going to just doctor saying that I have high heart rate, I have high blood pressure, or diabetes. All these things are all stress induced. These things should be able to control. First of all, Krishna is teaching us that you eat food in the mode of goodness. Ayu sattva bala arogyam sukha priti vivardhanaga rasyaga snigdaga stiraga agaraga hridayaga agaraga satvika priyaga. So that kind of food we need to eat. Eat a lot of vegetables. That's what is very important in our plate. If there are especially cooked vegetables, that's what is very important. We should not be eating raw vegetables. So cooked vegetables, and a lot of vegetables should be off of the plate. Should be vegetables. That's what is very important. So if it is not there, if you eat only other things, they are called junk food, only carbohydrates and fats and all such things if we eat a lot. So that way, Krishna is teaching us very, very clearly what we should do in this Bhagavad Gita. So now we finished first sloka in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Now in the next sloka, first sloka, in the next sloka, Krishna is teaching us that in the first sloka, what we studied, Krishna said that Parambhuyaga pravakshyami jnananam jnanam uttamam yajnatva munayaga sarve param siddhim yito gatha. So Parambhuyaga pravakshyami jnananam jnanam uttamam. So I am explaining you the ultimate knowledge. So yajnatva munaya sarve param siddhim yito gatha. So by knowing this, many sages in the past have achieved supreme destination. So now in the next sloka, Krishna is teaching us that in this sloka number second sloka in the 14th chapter, which I have quoted many, many times in the past. So Krishna says that idam jnanam upashitya mama sadharmyam agatha sarge pinopajayante pralaye navyatanti cha. So if anyone takes shelter unto this knowledge, idam jnanam upashitya, mama sadharmyam agataha, they will attain my nature. So that's what. So mama sadharmyam agataha, they will attain my nature. So that's what Krishna is saying there. Just taking shelter unto this Bhagavad Gita. Idam jnanam upashitya, mama sadharmyam agataha. Sargepi nopajayante pralaye navyatanticha. So at that point of time, when this material world is created, we are not going to take birth in this world. Sargepi nopajayante. We are not going to come here. When this material world is annihilated, pralaye navyadanticha, we are not going to be disturbed. Nothing will happen to us. Because when we attain Krishna's nature, when we go to Krishna's well, when we go to Goloka, when we are free from this material world, so at that point of time, so we will be very safe there because Krishna's well is Sasvatam Sukhalayam. So Krishna's well is, this material well is Dukkalayam Asasvatam, whereas Krishna's well is Sukhalayam Sasvatam. That's what we need to understand. So in the Sukhalayam Sasvatam means it's a permanent blissful place. This material well is a temporary miserable place. So that way Krishna is teaching us that just by taking shelter unto this Bhagavad Gita knowledge, idam jnanam upashitya mamasa dharmyam agataga. So we will attain Krishna's nature. So that means we will go to Goloka, Krishna's way, just by taking shelter unto this Bhagavad Gita. Then sarge pinopajayante pralaye navyadanticha. So when this material world is created, we won't come back. When this material world is annihilated, we won't be disturbed. So that's what Krishna is teaching us. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we are understanding this. So we need to take shelter unto this Bhagavad Gita knowledge. That's what is very important. So by becoming fixed in this knowledge, one can attain to the transcendental nature like my own. This established, one is not born at the time of creation or disturbed at the time of dissolution. That's what Krishna is saying. So by Krishna's causeless mercy, we have successfully finished the second sloka in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. I'll stop now and we'll discuss if any questions are there. Hare Krishna.